To Love and Reload, the voice of the relocation industry. I am your host, Ben Cross, and I'm so blessed and honored to be here with my friend Josh Jurhill, CEO and founder of Muscular Moving Men. Josh, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Dude, we're out here in beautiful Arizona. We're on site here at the HQ. This is it's cool to be here.
Welcome. Thank you for coming, visiting our state. We got the desert heat all ready to go for you.
Yeah, it's really cool, and I got a chance to walk your facility here. It's really impressive, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, the branding's fantastic. I love the name. We're going to get into the name. We're going to get into the history. We're going to get into what y'all do when you're not working out here. We're going to have a lot of fun today. You ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah, get in the comments, y'all. Let us know who you are, where you are. Check in with us here. It is 106 right now in sunny Arizona, 1 o'clock local. And how do y'all deal with the heat, Josh?
Over 42 years of being a native Phoenician, I've just kind of grown accustomed to it. So I am reminded every time I walk outside and I'm walking out into an oven, I'm like, God bless our guys that do this in the heat all day, every day.
Seriously, shout out to the movers out there.
Shout out to them.
People tell me I work hard. I'm like, no, I could be on a roof right now. I could be on the back of a truck right now. God bless those guys.
Doing it all with a smile on their face, providing 5-star experiences. And
how do you find guys to do this work? How do you recruit movers in Arizona?
Just live by our mission statement, be the team that mover athletes want to play for.
Mover athletes. Have you always been mover athletes? That's like a unique, like you hear some, van lines are professional van operators, and obviously you got movers and lumpers and all the things we call, especially at the end of the day, we start using a lot of names for each other, but the mover athlete thing, where'd that come from?
I think it's all in the name. So Muscular Moving Men, that's been our name since day one. And when we really think about what our team members are doing out in the field, they are athletes. You just said it, 160 degrees heat. You got to go do that up and down stairs, up and down ramps all day. Oh. This is an athletic deal. And I think we want to make this a culture and a place that you're not just some guy, you're not just some laborer, you're not just a mover, you're a mover athlete, and you're playing for a winning team.
I love it. I love it. Get in the comments, y'all. Hit that like button. Let us know who you are, where you are, how hot is it where you are right now. Okay, is it over under 106? You talked about a Phoenician. It does. I feel like that's why they named Phoenix, right? Wasn't it like a bird rising from the ashes? That's what it feels like here. It feels like we're in the ashes. It's so hot right now. Daisy says, hey, love being in Arizona live with Josh Jurhill, Muscular Moving Men and Stores. Such an impressive team. You talk about the mover athletes too. We had a walk through your warehouse, and y'all got a full-blown gym in there.
Got to.
I mean, do people work out in the warehouse?
I get that question all the time, along with questions like, are they really muscular? And then, yes.
Yeah, they really are. They're legit muscular around here.
But no, it's kind of part of the culture. So that's the entrance of where the mover athletes actually walk in from. And they're walking right into a fitness environment. And the answer to the question is yes, these members are actually working out before shifts, after shifts. So it is a pretty cool thing.
And so what's up, Beverly Bell? I see you out there. Looking forward to hearing this story. Yes, Bev, get in the comments here. Ask your questions, Bev. You've been around the block. You've seen some stuff out here. You worked for Grable back in the day. There was someone on your staff here, Josh, that worked for Grable back in the day. Maybe you worked with Bev. Who knows? Get in there, ask your questions. But I noticed not only do they work out in the warehouse in the gym, but you give prizes away. Like people can get PTO days.
I think just incentivizing that fitness culture, but we're competitive here. One of our other core values is being relentlessly never satisfied. So we're fueled on growth and pushing each other. So it is cool to make some fun competitive games out of it.
So I see where y'all are at now. I mean, it's really impressive. You've got a new building on the way, which we'll talk about just down the street, which hopefully I get a tour of later. But it wasn't always this. How did you start this business?
So, getting our roadmap, getting to this point, it's certainly one step at a time. And like a lot of success stories and a lot of facets of life, it's just consistency. And we've stumbled plenty of times, but we've always picked ourselves up.
But did you know you wanted to be a mover, though? I got to believe you weren't always trying to be a mover, right?
I mean, funny story about that. So my background was in insurance. I was an insurance adjuster, until I was about
Okay.
22 in a major insurance company. Shout out Hartford Insurance. They insured Abraham Lincoln back in the day. That was
How'd that work out?
yeah.
I'm just kidding.
My business partner, childhood friend Justin, he worked for a major franchise, 2 Men and a Truck.
Okay.
In college, he said, "Do you want to come work on the weekend with me? We can spend some time doing these moving jobs." And the funny thing is, I made it about 1 month working for that company before. Like, Justin, I don't know what's wrong with you, dude. This is like the toughest job I've ever done in my life. I'm
Right.
out.
Yeah.
And then skip ahead to a few years later. I'm probably about 23, 24 at the time, and a Craigslist ad, some side hustle money, and
So you went from never wanting to do this job again to like, hey, Justin, I've been thinking, it's been a couple years, maybe, I don't know, been working out a little more or something. And so what made you run that first Craigslist ad? Which, by the way, I saw you have up there too with Justin, you holding the couch with
it's an iconic photo at this point for
is.
us. So that was his girlfriend at the time, now wife and mother of his 2 kids. That's
Wow.
Jackie. And so
What's
we
up,
just had some
Jackie?
passerby take the iconic photo of us holding a couch with Jackie on it. That was our Craigslist ad photo. And there was no grand vision at that time other than we were just trying to make some side cash, side money, and he had a
Right.
pickup truck and trailer, and so we started figuring it out as we went.
Do you remember like any of the early lessons that you learned from that experience?
Taking care of the client, and having tough conversations. I think things are not going to always go right, and how you show up when things are not going right. I think I had a lot of appreciation for Justin, and the way, for what he would say is, you just got to tear off the Band-Aid sometimes. You just got to have a tough conversation and navigate through that. So learning to take on all the challenges of business ownership, meet them head on.
And you started to, hey, get in the comments, y'all. Hit that like button. Feel free to ask any questions of Josh here. We see Zach Stevenson checking in. Raleigh at 96. Feels like 100. Yeah, Zach, you keeping those guys hydrated out there, Zach? Yeah, Daisy's saying I love the workout area. I think she got a couple reps in. Did you hit the squats, Daisy? There was a squat challenge out there. You squat $135,
I
Daisy?
need to do a few more.
Okay, all right, it's cool. It's cool. No judgment, So you started with a pickup truck and a trailer, and then when did you realize, oh, this is more than just a side hustle?
When jobs started getting booked, and we found that there was something there, and that we found that Justin's a really talented guy, and I have my own great abilities, and that we were able to provide good levels of service, and that we could leverage our commitment and wanting to grow together, and do this with your best friend. So we saw that there was something there, and it is funny, that entrepreneurial jump, when for him, he left his stable job, I left my stable job, and we're all in. So
What year was this?
that would be 2008.
Dude, 2000. I don't know if you knew this or not, but 2008 was a really tough time in the economy. I mean, forget getting people to move. People were getting foreclosed on their house. I mean, that was a tough time. I mean, do you think that, were you aware of that at the time?
The funny thing is, ignorance is bliss sometimes, and so coming up, the other positive to that, we didn't have a bunch of overhead expenses and all these kind of things, payroll to pay. So as things started to improve after 2008, as went our business. So we kind of got some of our systems and early structure figured out just together, and then by the time things are really leveling off, we were in a good place to take advantage of that.
I heard somebody, that's really cool. I heard somebody talk about, it was actually a NYU professor who does a lot of business podcasts and stuff like that. And he was talking about, how companies who are founded in tough times tend to do better long term, because then when the macroeconomics change and the externalities change, hey, that's great. That's tailwind, right? And that's wonderful. So if you can make it in tough times, you can sure make it when the market improves. Whereas companies that are founded in kind of boom times tend to bust when the market contracts, because they think they're just smart and have a good business model, but as Warren Buffett says, when the tide goes out, you see who's swimming naked. You know what I mean? And it's like so I see when I see. It feels like 2008 kind of being part of your DNA almost a little bit, And here we find ourselves in, another really tough housing time, but it doesn't seem to have affected your business at all.
Tough times don't last, tough people do. And thanks for the Warren Buffett reference. I'll have to
Yeah.
use that one. But that's funny because I've never really thought through that. But, I'm a big believer in doing hard things and just, mentally callousing your mind, if you will. Shout out David Goggins. But so we've been here before, and it is funny, in a down housing market, we're continuing to grow and we're continuing to find ways to make our own economy and push the business forward. But at the same time, exactly what you just referenced, there's plenty of businesses that popped up in, post-COVID, and it was all great, and some of those businesses evaporated, unfortunately. So being seasoned in the fire, I guess, that really does help you when it inevitably returns.
Yeah, for sure. Get in the comments, y'all. Hit that like button. If you got questions for Josh, let us know. Check in with us. Let us know who you are, where you are, and how hot it is. Chad Farrote says, love the mover athlete idea. Yeah, Chad. You got mover athletes out there, Chad? You know what's funny? I got to be honest with you. I started a moving company inside of another company. When I was at 1-800-PACK-RAT, I started a company called Forward Relocation, right? And we started having crews, in various markets, in like 15 markets, right? Because we were getting all this corporate work and everything. And we're like, hey, we need more than just the containers. There's an opportunity to pack and load these and all the things, right? And so I stood them up. I got the guys hired, remotely, which was hard enough. And then I had to make sure they were all in uniform, because that's a big part of it. And I remember ordering the T-shirts for these guys. And I ordered like XXL and XL, and you're already smiling because you know where this is going. And I sent them out, and I'm like, hey, you guys got, and they were this red color, they were like cherry red, they were really cool looking. And I was like, hey guys, you guys got the shirts? They're like, yeah, man, the guys got the shirts, but they're swimming in them out here, It's like, our guys got island waists out here, and you got us these like huge, blanket shirts out here. And it's funny, you talk about these mover, because I didn't work on the back of the truck, right? So I came in from like a corporate perspective, and I assume these guys are big guys. And that was a learning for me early on. Is like, a lot of these guys are just, a lot of them are thin, and they're out there, just running around and got great cardio and whatnot, Anyway.
It's funny. This is a cardio event, and it's mentally challenging, and just by having glamour muscles that look nice, that doesn't mean anything in a lot of ways. So certainly when it comes to taking care of a client all day, providing great service, and it has nothing to do with what you physically look like at some level. And frankly, the amount of cardio, these guys are doing endurance races every day. So they're not going to necessarily look at like Arnold Schwarzenegger out there.
Right. Tim Quirk checking in says, Ben, are you skinny dipping again? Tim, first of all, we don't talk about that. Okay, I have no idea what you're referring to, Tim. Moving on. Any other questions for Josh? Are welcome. So you started out as a residential mover. At what point? Because now y'all do a lot of stuff. At what point did you decide, hey, we want to do more than just residential COD moving? What was that evolution like for you?
Yeah, I think for myself, pro and con, I'm always aware of the shiny things and what other opportunities are out there. Sometimes those shiny things have gotten me in trouble. Sometimes we've hit home runs. So
how do you know when to go for something and when to like, we're not gonna do that anymore?
I think experience and a little bit of wisdom is certainly helping me now, almost 20 years in. And I think it's hard to get that education and get a degree for it other than just going through the fires sometimes.
Yeah, you got to try stuff, right?
Got to try stuff. We opened up Muscular Moving Men San Diego, Denver, and Detroit all in 1 year.
Wow.
And we were going to take over the world and that 1 year. And so that was really exciting. It was also very humbling closing all three of those locations the same year. So
how did you know when you you needed to make that hard decision, and what was that like? Because that's sure wasn't easy.
That's tough, and so I think it's easy to get excited about where the company's at now and revenue and top line numbers, this, that, and the other. But it is those moments when certainly I've been built on commitment, willpower, we don't quit, and all the other things that are built inside. But looking at numbers and looking at losing traction in the Phoenix market by having to travel to 3 other locations. So that is a humbling moment to have conversations with 3 other operators that have also bought into our vision and said, hey, we're going to have to pivot and we're going to come back to Phoenix and focus on Phoenix.
Yeah, no, it's intuitive to say, okay, you know, the goal is to get more dots on the map and then connect those dots, and you've done a lot with your long distance moving program. We'll talk about that, but you know, it's intuitive to say I want more dots on the map. I mean, that was kind of my rationale, like I was telling you that story before. But it's not always the best strategy. You know, you look at some of the best independent movers in the country, and you know, I mean, the one that won the award at ATA last year, I mean, JK Moving, right? I mean, they're in one location in DC, you know, and they're just massive, right? And it's like it's incredible to see what you can do with that perspective. Why is that the right model for you guys right now?
So it just feels right for what we've branched out into. So funny enough, you bring up JK Moving, fantastic company, and you know, a lot of people could learn from following them.
Right.
You know, I was blessed enough to get introduced to Jim Stevens back in 2018, who used to work for JK and did sales for them. And you know, Jim came out here, and we were able to reach an agreement where he runs our commercial division, M3 Commercial Moving and Logistics.
Yeah, that's been huge for you guys.
Huge. So as far as diversification and, you know, just a home run for us. So Jim's been great. He's a partner of mine, and he's done phenomenal with M3 Commercial, and we have a presence here, not only here, but in the DC market, and we're facilitating commercial moves all around the country, if not the world. So branching out there has been huge, and to just have that proper diversification and also be a specialist. So, you know, Muscular Moving Men does local residential moving. Muscular Moving Men Long Distance does long distance moving. M3 Commercial Moving and Logistics, as you could guess, they specialize all day in commercial moving, and they do it very well.
Right.
So
you've actually found a way to support moves all over the country and the world from, which I think is really, really cool, and you're able to kind of control the quality and the operational excellence of that as well, it seems like. Get in the comments, y'all. If you got questions here for Josh, we're talking to Josh Jurhill, the CEO and founder of Muscular Moving Men here in Phoenix, lovely Phoenix. Bev Bell's checking in, says athletic departments, military members, and also police or security people that are wanting supplemental income, perfect recruiting areas. They are structured, accustomed to uniforms, and most are in shape. Is Bev on target there?
Absolutely. I think people that thrive in our company are people that come from structure, still certainly military type backgrounds. So I love our military members, and you know, they do really well in our organization. Yeah,
and you know that they can get on base too and do those jobs. Get in the comments, y'all. If you got questions for Josh, we'll take them. David Yakum says, how do you market Muscular? David used to work with me back in the day. What's up, David? He says, how do you market Muscular Moving Men? Do you use AI for surveys? So two-part question here. How do you market Muscular Moving Men?
So I think we try to be as diversified in our marketing efforts as we can, but we have, you know, after nearly 20 years of doing this, word of mouth, previous customers is going to be huge, and regarding our reputation. We've always done a really good job of managing our realtor partnerships, so I think we do a really good job with that, and our outside business development team, traditional Google, things like that. And then our long distance moving partnership program has been huge, so leveraging relationships with other independent moving companies around the country has really fueled some big time growth in our interstate fleet. And
how does that work? I want to touch on that for a second, because here you are, you know, you're an independent mover, big independent mover here in Phoenix, but you're talking about partnering with other agents, other independent movers across the country. How does that work?
Sure. So I think some of the biggest successes that I've realized in the industry is just collaboration, serving others, helping others, and how it can come back to you. So I've managed to built some great other relationships with other independent moving companies. And back when I was an agent for a major van line in 2015, for a couple of years before deciding that being an agent wasn't best for us, we made some relationships with a moving company up in Washington. Shout out Matt, Already Moving. But we had some tractor trailers at this point, had some wherewithal how to do consolidated trailers and this kind of thing, and just started with one partner that, if you refer us work, there'll be a referral fee, and we're going to take great care of the client, and this, that, and the other. So from
it's almost like a van line, it sounds like.
It's kind of like an independent.
Or how they started.
At least how they started. So
Yeah.
I think that's where we have a unique value proposition, is that we're competitively priced with any major van line, but level of service, we're providing this independent level of service, and then it's a win-win-win for our moving partners. And we have them all around the country. There's on any given week about 50 engaged partners that are referring us jobs that they're not the best solution for, and then we're able to take care of the client, and they're able to monetize the referral.
Over here, get my my power cord plugged in here. There we go. Thank you, Daisy. Appreciate you here. I'll get it. There you go. Awesome. There we go. Couldn't do it without a team. Thanks, Daisy. Appreciate it. Yeah, no. So that reminds me how van lines started. I mean, I think van lines have changed quite a bit, but I think that the model. I mean, the model's proven, right? I mean, we need kind of dots on the map to support the business, right, and the partnerships, and then to your point about them being able to kind of create, demand locally, for your long distance services, and you're running a fleet. I just saw your kind of your dispatch board in there. It was pretty impressive. I mean, the whole operation, the way that y'all use technology is really probably the best I've seen, to be honest.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I mean, not that it's an AI-driven company, but the way that you use AI to kind of iterate these ideas and get them operational and like kind of launch them and try stuff, I think is incredible. But y'all are running a fleet water to water right now out of Arizona.
At any given time, there will be somewhere between 20 to 30 tractor trailers on the road. I think right now we have about 25 trucks all over the country, and I think we're really proud of that and how we've gotten to this point, and the fact that all these drivers are independent drivers. They're independently running with us. They're W-2 drivers that, in many cases, that we've put them through
W-2
CDLs.
employees.
These are W-2 employees.
Wow.
So no owner operators, and so this is our team, and I think that's a lot of our value proposition, that this is not outsourced, this is not brokered, we're not a van line. This is our company. It says Muscular Moving Men on the side of the trucks. It's our customer service department.
Right.
And that's where we have a lot of synergy with our moving partners that are referring us the job, because at the end of the day, we're an independent company just like them.
Yeah. I want to talk about the difference in the employee versus, kind of contractor model, because, I've worked in both, and I have some strong opinions about them both ways. I want to finish David's question. Get in the comments, y'all. If you've got questions for Josh, we're talking to Josh Jurhill, the CEO and founder of Muscular Moving Men. Get in the comments here. I want to finish David's question because he had a two-parter. He says, "Do you use AI for surveys? How do you handle surveys when you're here in Phoenix?"
We are not currently using AI, although there's a lot of options out there, and that is the next area that we want to lean into. But being that we're predominantly booking jobs all around the country that have nothing to do with Phoenix, the majority of we're doing virtual surveys. So with Live Switch currently, but there's
is that like a video platform, kind of like FaceTime or something?
It's a glorified FaceTime call.
Okay, got it.
Everything gets recorded, and we're sharing that with both the driver as well as the client. So it's really great to memorialize those. And frankly, I like those better than a in-home walkthrough at some level.
Yeah.
The in-home walkthrough is great for building the rapport and closing the deal, but where's that body cam footage essentially that I can share with the driver?
Recording?
Where's the recording? So
it's only as good as the notes and the cube sheet that comes out of that.
That's right.
You're right. Yeah. No, it makes a lot of sense. Why haven't you done the AI surveys? AI surveys have been kind of such a trend, lately. I mean, do you have concerns about their accuracy, or just? What has it been?
I don't think concerned about the accuracy, and I think that is the next area that we're going to lean into. I think, at least in large part for the volume of COD shipments that we're booking, the other benefit to that in-home walkthrough is the relationship and the rapport. Yeah. You're a great sales guy. Yeah. I'm all right, but
you're a great sales guy. All right.
So, but we need that rapport, and so I'm 42. I'm a little bit old. I'm getting older. School. I'm still about that human element.
Yeah.
And so
that's true. That's true, because if you do an AI survey, a lot of times you're just kicking it over to a company that does it. They're running it through their platform, and they're giving you the results. But there's no salesmanship opportunity. There's no feature and benefiting. There's no, oh, is that armoire going? Oh, interesting. That looks like an antique. Tell me the story there. Like, there's a lot of missed opportunity here, and you're still having to close every deal.
So I'll just talk through like example of a lot of these referrals that we're getting. So again, we have moving partners that are referring us jobs all around the country. So, our partner in Tampa, Florida, Big Man's Moving. His name's Josh, that owns it. Great name.
Great guy. Great guy.
So company in Tampa, Florida says, we're not the best fit to move you from Florida to New York. Yeah. But our partner based out of Phoenix is a great part. So there's a handoff, and there's some magic in that transition that, they're an independent company just like them. Mm-hmm. But they called Big Man's first. They wanted to use, so it's already a handoff. So this virtual walkthrough, it's not just about the AI grabbing the data. It's about, let me talk to you face to face, even if I'm recording, and sell you while I'm gathering the inventory. So it's part of the whole closing of the COD deal too.
Yeah, I really like that. That makes a ton of sense, because when you told me you weren't using AI surveys at first, I'm like, well, that's kind of interesting, because you guys are so forward thinking and innovative in so many ways. But I'm with you. I feel like so often we use AI as a shortcut, but we never think about what we're cutting out. And there's so much value a lot of times in the things that we're shortcutting, and we want to get to the end, but we sometimes miss. There's value in the journey sometimes, and I couldn't agree with you more. Get in the comments, y'all. Let us know if you got questions here for Josh. Zach Stevenson said, M3, great OMA partner. Thank you. A little applause there. Hit that like button. Hit those applause buttons in there. Check in with us. Let us know who you are, where you are. Bev's got a question. She says, full interstate authority for all traffic lanes?
That's correct.
Yes, Bev.
Yes.
Yes. Well, Bev, nowadays, you just get that interstate authority and it's good. But back in the day, Bev, you had to get it like state by state. Yeah, that was a long time ago. Mel, anywhere you don't want to go?
No. We go literally all over the country.
You're going up to Montana, you're going up to Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota.
I'm asking them to put me on the back of the truck and take me with them if they're doing that. God's country up in Montana.
Go to Jackson Hole, drop me off at Jackson Hole. Yeah, that's another area. People do not, so many carriers out here that do this corporate relocation work that you guys are doing now, do not want to go up into that great sky country up there. A lot of them don't want to go into those densely populated cities because of the shuttles and things like that. Does any of that give you pause, or any of that stuff that you would say, I'd really like to stay out of here or there?
I think there's certainly some places that present more challenges than others, but we are not looking away really from pickups anywhere. And I think that's, it's taken some time, but to build out our network of moving partners, and in that example, like we have a North Dakota partner, we have a Idaho partner, we have a Washington partner, and Montana partner. Yeah. So we have enough volume that we can efficiently plan out trips and make sure that we are turning a profit on the bottom line.
Yeah, totally. I want to get into the independent versus contractor discussion, because I think it's a discussion that I think not enough people have in this business. But before I do that, Mel, what's up, Mel? Phillips checking in. About to join a gym, Daisy. Great story, highs and lows, hard work paid off. Uh-oh, she's saying Daisy's joining a gym? I don't know. Listen, I don't know. We'll see. We'll get some free weights in the office here. Let's talk a little bit about the value of having your employees on every move versus owner-operator contractors because I came, I worked at a van line agent for 5 years. I sold, some really big accounts and, all that stuff. But, yeah, you need to take, we got a caller? First-time caller, long-time listener.
Leave me alone. I don't know what
But we would use owner-operators. And even when we didn't have owner-operators, we would use local contractors, terminal contractors, whatever you want to call them. And man, I'd have some problems, Josh. Like I'd go out on these corporate jobs, and I'd be doing my little walkthrough, and I'd have my little clipboard, my notes, and I'm doing my quality, my QA, and I'm asking my questions. Okay, how's the home prepped? Were the movers on time? Is everyone in uniform? And when I get that, is everyone in uniform question, I'm looking around and I'm like, I got an Atlas agent, I've got an Allied agent, I've got a North American agent shirt, I've got a United Van Line shirt out here, and I got 4 guys in different uniforms. And I call back, I'm like, Bob, I got these guys aren't in uniform. What do you mean? They're all wearing uniforms. And I'm like, Bob, they can't all wear their own uniforms. This ain't the Pro Bowl, man. Everyone's got to be in the same uniform, or else it's not a uniform. And I was just things like that it was just drive me nuts because I couldn't control the quality. I'm selling the highest quality moves to the biggest customers in the world, and I couldn't control the quality. How does having employees change that?
Yeah, I mean, that's hard. And so when we talk, about even when it comes to wearing hats, I'm like, you wouldn't be working at McDonald's and go showing up to wear a Burger King hat.
No.
So come in uniform. It's the lowest bar of expectation. When we're out there selling these VIP level of service and experience, because that's what we're selling, is an experience.
Of course.
Our customers are well within their right to have a certain expectation of what we're going to show up.
Do you know how mind-blowing? You just blew my mind, too. Because I just took my kid to McDonald's yesterday, right? If I pulled up to a McDonald's drive-thru and the dude pops his head out with a Burger King hat on, I don't know what I would do. I would think that the place was under siege or something. Like I don't know what I would do.
I think working at McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's is what I like for the spicy chicken. But the lowest expectation for me is like you're going to be in uniform. Now, I can tell you a cross-country move costs a heck of a lot more than my spicy chicken. So why is it okay?
Right.
Or why is it, they can be in uniform, but we can't? And so
you're doing a $10,000 move and you can't even put the right T-shirt on.
So I think that's where it gets challenging to mirror what we're selling, the level of service experience that we're providing to our great clients with what our field level team members are out there, and that comes to training, and also we got to inspect what we expect.
What does that mean?
That means it's one thing to hand it out to the team, like this is the expectation, but who's actually circling back and who's going to be bent out there with the clipboard checking on it? And then when we check in and things are not right, we are what we accept. So there's only so many times you can say, hey, you shouldn't do that. Hey, you shouldn't do. Then someone's got to go. And it doesn't have to be a tough decision, because when we tell our team members that we have a high expectation if you want to work here, and we say, like, our place is not for everyone, and there's plenty of other places out here that you can go work for. You just can't work for us.
Right. Oh, there's a lot of movers you could work for. There's a lot of movers you could work for with that standard, for sure. I've seen it, unfortunately. Get in the comments with your questions here. I'm talking to Josh Jurhill, CEO and founder of the Muscular Moving Men. This is great here. Daisy's over here. Yeah, if you're, okay, all right. Daisy's got a question. She's got her crystal ball out. She says, if you're back on Love and Relo 2 years from now, what do you hope we're talking about? Good question, Daisy. Is that ChatGPT? That's a good one.
2 years from now, here's what we are going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about the new great headquarters that we've now been in for about a year and a half at that point.
Yep.
So excited about that. I think we're talking about the continued expansion of M3 Commercial and how that's just continued to take off. We're talking about how we've now completed a few acquisitions of other independent companies around the country successfully. Nice. And we're talking about the new revenue targets and the growth of our interstate fleet and how it's not 25 or 30 trucks on the road. We're now around 50 trucks on the road. But more importantly, it's not just the volume, It's that we've maintained the level of service. So that's what we're really excited about. We're excited about doing that through a lot of corporate relocation type opportunities.
You know, a lot of people will say things like what you're saying, but you know, the level of specificity that you're using is admirable. But when I walk around here, there's at least 2 giant posters on the wall that have shown the growth from 2015 through 2030, and the revenue targets, the profitability targets, the men in trucks numbers, like all the things that you're talking about, like, and you guys, and this is also another first too, I've probably seen, you guys are ahead of schedule on these things. Like usually we make these aspirational projections, and usually it's like half under duress in like a boardroom because like the shareholders are like, no, we need more. It's like, all right, I'll do it, I'll do more. You know, and then it doesn't work because we didn't really mean it when we said it. But you guys have it on the wall, and I'm watching it in the trajectory. Like you guys are ahead of schedule on this stuff. And I'll be honest, as a CEO, I'm envious. I'm like, honestly, the level of growth that y'all have achieved and the audacity of the goals and the aspirations, it's really inspirational.
Thanks, Ben. I appreciate that. And I think having vision, in the words of one of my favorite role models, Arnold, he used to say that, you know, having a vision is just like having a memory so clear it hasn't happened yet. That was my best Arnold
I
impression.
love the impression. I didn't know we're doing it. This might be the first impression we've done on LOVE+RELO. That's a good one.
I think it's a CEO's responsibility to not only have vision, but have clear vision that they're sharing with the team, because we can all share the, you know, we want to have a team that's rowing in the same direction. That all sounds great, but if the captain's not sharing where we're going and the team's just back there slaving away, just rowing it,
yeah,
that doesn't work either.
So at some point they stop rowing so hard too because they don't really know where they're going.
That's right.
You ain't rowing if you don't know where you're going. Hey, but you also share not only revenue numbers, but you share profitability numbers. A lot of companies don't have they don't have it. They won't do that.
Sure.
Why is that important to you to have that level of transparency?
I think it's at some level it shouldn't be a secret. In terms of, we know what profitability percentages are in the industry if you're doing things the right way.
Yeah.
I think the other side is we want to be a little bit of an open book with our team, and I believe that people like to play for a winning team. Yeah. You know, you asked me earlier if I'm a football fan. So absolutely I'm a football fan. So I think out here in Phoenix we have the Cardinals. And one thing with the Cardinals is they are consistent. They are not good, never won a Super Bowl, but they are consistent. And why are they consistent? And I think they are just not a winning program. Please prove me wrong, Cardinals.
It's a culture thing.
It's a culture thing.
Yeah,
and
that's
so
why it persists.
Why were the Patriots so great for 20 years?
It's a culture thing.
People like to play for a winning team, and I think getting people excited is not a bad thing.
Well, even look at like the Green Bay Packers, you know, where, I mean, you could say the culture thing with the Patriots, but then Brady leaves, right? Is it Brady or is it Belichick? Is the culture or whatever? I mean, I think largely it was a culture thing, the Patriot way and all that stuff. But I look at like the Green Bay Packers, right? They went from Favre to Rodgers to now Jordan Love. They haven't really skipped a beat. Like they've always been competitive, and to me that's a winning culture, top down, in that organization, and it's pretty impressive. Bev Bell says you're spot on. Yeah, Bev's got a point here. She says posting the goals for the growth is great. Communicating to all of those who help you get there is also key. The team needs to help you get there. Yeah, Bev.
Yeah, thank you.
For sure. You know what else I liked too when I was walking around here? I noticed on your office, on the outside of your office, you had posted your key rocks for this quarter, which is kind of interesting because we all have goals. It's another thing to post on. And then it's also like another thing for the CEO, frankly, to post them and say, okay, it's kind of like almost like, you know, I'm accountable. I mean, that's the way I read it.
I am accountable, and I believe in leading from the front as much as I believe in delegating and empowering the team. So I want the team to know what I'm working on. You know, maybe I could be sitting on a beach and, you know, but I want them to know that I'm here, I'm in the fight with them, and exactly the initiatives that I'm going to work on that's going to improve our winning team together. You know,
one time I worked for a guy earlier in my career, and I'm like an ideas person, so I love like whiteboards. You guys have whiteboards around, right? And so I had this idea. I was like, all right, I'm gonna whiteboard paint my whole wall, and I'm just going to make the whole thing like a whiteboard. And so I did. I whiteboard painted the whole thing, and it was just a whiteboard, and I filled it up with all these ideas and graphs and like numbers and plans and like all this stuff. Right? It was just it was fun for me. And then the CEO comes up to me. He's like, why are you putting all that like on like for display? He's like, aren't you worried like the team's gonna steal your ideas? And I was a vice president of sales. I'm like, that's the point, isn't it? Like that they steal your ideas and go do it. Like isn't that what leadership looks like? Is that the people steal your ideas? And I was like, man, this guy doesn't get it at all. Like, is he competing with his team?
Right.
Like I don't understand this guy at all. And I lasted about 6 months. That was the shortest stint I've ever had. But I love the fact that you're putting your vision out there for everyone to steal it and go for it. You know, I think that's really cool.
Thank you. I think some of the biggest successes that I've had in my life are just realizing that I am not the smartest guy in the room. I don't want to be the smartest guy in the room. And so through collaboration, we can all improve. You know, a rising tide floats all boats. And I think that's been some of my biggest success. And then back to my role as a CEO is to come up with a compelling vision, be an idea guy. But if the ideas are living in here, it's not helping anybody. So to get my vision out with the team is my responsibility, and then welcome their feedback too, because I'm not the only guy. I started on a Craigslist ad, so what the heck do I know? I'm always open to additional insight.
Yeah, for sure. Isn't it fun when like your team comes up with ideas that like maybe you know better ideas or does something you didn't even know about it, and you're like, wow, you guys like accomplished that? Like I didn't even. And I didn't even have to be involved. Like that, like to me, like that's one of the coolest feelings.
I think it's one of the coolest things, and I'll share. You know, that's one of my happiest things is when I don't have to be the idea guy and the implementer. And so you referenced AI, and so Agentis AI, and my team is doing a great job of adopting and implementing AI. So we got all these dashboards and software and all this kind of stuff. And so I am not the technology, I am not the AI guy, but I've built 2 websites, one that's advancing our warehouse, one that's advancing our long distance operations and trip planning, which started in my mind with how things, but I don't have time, nor do I want to be building these things out. So I was able to get it to a starting point, and then I added team members as co-implementers, and I showed them how to write a prompt and also, I don't do anything with these things, but my team is out there making improvements to our own custom websites that we are now saving out on other subscription softwares. Wow. And they're all psyched about it because we're building tailored softwares to us. So leveraging AI and collaborating with the team, and I'm not the one coming up with the ideas anymore.
That's really cool, and I might need you to show me how to do that. But what I also thought was neat when you were showing me this program earlier was that when you told me that anyone can update it, like anyone can add to it or make changes to it. And I've always worked at companies that was not the case. You know, you had to like put in a ticket, it had to go to an IT steering committee, a bunch of people that didn't understand the problem had to vote on it, and then it was like on the roadmap for 18 months.
So the game is changing, and so this was mind-blowing to me. So like we'll talk about our traditional CRM or things like that. If you want to make a custom change to this out-of-the-box software, well, let's use QuickBooks, for example. Yeah. You want to we're not making changes to QuickBooks, or if you were going to have to get to the right person to make some custom thing.
Software development.
Custom software development. It doesn't have to be like that. So you can build it yourself, and now we can have our team members that are never developers in their own right, but they know the inner workings of our system. But like, wouldn't it be cool if this did this, and it gave an automatic notification to the client about their updated delivery date, and we didn't have, wow, that's possible, and we can automate that now. And it's not just the developer, it's just not the software guy, because we have a developer on staff. But it's not about him just writing the code and building the fancy dashboards. It's about getting the practitioners, the actual team members involved and getting them excited, because people like to be involved and play for a winning team.
Yeah, and people like to see their ideas implemented too.
That's right.
You know, it sounds like that's really common here. David, I see your question there. I'm going to get to it. Mel says, Josh is such a visionary. Love this.
Thank you.
Such positivity and attainable goals, seeing the growth. He gets the customer service aspect to a T. So many people can tell you what you want to hear, but doing it is another thing. I want to see the posters, Ben. All right, Mel, I'll show you the posters. Very cool. David Yakum's got a question. What's up, David? He says, how are claims managed when hauling another partner's shipment? Ooh, good question, Dave.
Sure. So we have two different options. We have back to football here. So we have a handoff and we have a forward pass.
Okay.
So a handoff is what we
already.
Yeah, that's what we do most typically, is where it's the straight referral through. So if there's a claim, if there's an issue with reputation, it's on us. We booked the job, hauled the job. It's our claims process, so it's very clean cut. If we're talking about a forward pass, which is more of like an interline agreement where the partner has then booked the move and then we're hauling it on their behalf, but they hold the agreement with the client. Ultimately, the claims process is through the moving partner, and there's we're working with the moving partner for claims resolution.
So where's the liability? I'm just going to ask the next question. I know David would ask. How do you determine liability there if like more than one person touches the shipment? Like does that moving partner who referred you the shipment, do they do the OA work on it? Do they load the truck? Like, how involved are they?
Sure. So the majority of time, it's still going to be all on us. So that's where we're trying to keep this clean cut. And
so your driver shows them packs and loads. They book into you like a booking agent.
That's right.
They sell it, but you service the whole thing, cradle to grave.
That's right. But back to the previous example about the referral, they're booking the job and we're hauling it. It's their team that's loading our truck and everything. So this is where I'm leveraging my experience with a van line previously and what some of my challenges were. It was like where it gets very gray on liability, things like that. So I wanted, putting myself in an independent's shoes, because I am one, I just want this clean cut.
Right. I just want to book it, make sure my customer's taken care of, get a commission or a profit share on it, and on to the next one.
That's right.
Yeah, I dig that. I like that a lot. Super cool, y'all. Good questions. Get in the comments, y'all. Let us know if you have questions for Josh Jurhill, CEO and founder of Muscular Moving Men, based here in Phoenix, Arizona, where it is it's hot. It's hot. That makes tough people, though, right?
Toasty.
It's toasty. It's warm. Just aware of the weather out here. What's the biggest challenge now? You talked about kind of growing from, a pickup truck and a trailer in 2008. That's what, 18 years ago. It's a long time. And now here we are in 2026. You're running a pretty massive operation with all this long distance moving. You have the commercial moving division. You're doing corporate relocation. You're doing military stuff. Super robust operation. What would you say your biggest challenge is now?
So me personally, I think, you hear these phrases, get to a place where you can work on your business instead of working in your business. Well, guess what? I'm kind of there. So I get to work on my business, but at that same level, now that I can work on my business, what exactly am I going to work on? And so I'm at a place where every part of my business could use my help, but I'm not needed anywhere.
Yeah.
So with that said, I can kind of have paralysis by analysis.
Yes, the paradox of choice, right?
Yeah. So where do I go? Because once I dive in, I want to dive in.
Right.
So, I think, I guess to that point too, I got clear on where I want my time spent from a percentage standpoint. Yeah. I want to answer my girlfriend Caitlin's question when she said, "Did you have a good day at work today, honey?" I'm like, you know what? Let me think. Yes, I did, because I put 25% of my time into people development, 25% into system optimization, 25% into personal brand development, and 25% into forward-thinking ideas. So I try to compartmentalize like my actual time into these areas.
Does that mix feel good to you? Like, does that feel natural to do that, or is that something that's come with disciplined thinking over time?
I think it comes with disciplined thinking, and I think I'm an introverted guy by nature, so I'm an operations type guy. But I've found by voice or found my ability to be an extroverted introvert at times here and build relationships, and seeing the value that's come through that, the moving partnership program, for example, and now leaning more into corporate relocation. So I am now stepping in more of a place of relationships, building the business, and less into an operations area. So it's been a growth of myself to now step into that.
Yeah, this that's where I've come from, is more the relationship side of the business, and it's so funny we talk about that, especially in the relocation industry, how relational the business is too. I would say to some degree in the in the B2B moving industry, whether it be like the military, too, where the relationships are super important, But there's something about like the B2B side of this business where the relationship is so relational. It's not just I have capacity, I have great rates. It's really who do you trust to get things done. And I think you mentioned this before, but it's like when things go wrong, and they inevitably do because we're moving used furniture, right? With people moving furniture. How do you show up, and how do you take accountability, and how do you fix it? I think, it's a very relational business for sure. Get in the comments, y'all, if you got any questions for Josh. Josh, we're going to play a little game. You want to have some fun with me?
I'd love to.
I'm all right, good. You didn't have a choice. We're going to play a game called Overrated or Underrated. Overrated or underrated. Do you know how to play the game, Josh?
Can you explain it to me?
Yeah, that's smart. That's smart. A lot of people think they know, okay? But there's curveballs here. Okay, I know you're a sports guy. There's curveballs, all right? I'm going to give you a topic, and you are going to tell me if it is either overrated or underrated.
Got it.
And then I will tell you if you're correct. All right, let's go. All right, first one up. Overrated or underrated? College.
Underrated.
Underrated? Okay. Why is that?
Because I didn't go.
You didn't go? So maybe overrated. Maybe it's overrated.
Maybe I should have gone so I could have better understood the question.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna say college. So you're gonna go college overrated.
That's right.
And do you think that you would have had the level of success that you have today had you gone to college? Like, would it have made you less successful, you think?
Who knows? But my path was my path, and I'm where I am now because of the way it worked out, and I love where I'm at. So not going to college worked out okay for me.
Yeah, I could make it. Obviously everything we do kind of changes, where we go in life and everything. But I could totally see where going to college would have ruined you as an entrepreneur. I mean, because college really trains you to go get a job, and and that's cool. Like, that's great. Like, that's really great for a lot of people and everything. But there's so much to like the figuring it out, right? And to the adversity, creating those opportunities, right? Where it's not known what's coming next. It's not, there's no necessarily a logical next step. Like, if you're going to college, you graduate, you go to a job fair, some big company recruits you theoretically out of college, and then you just get on that track, and then it's hard to get off that track.
I think for me, the parameters that college could have given, and the guardrails, it could have kept me on path to, like you're saying, getting that next stable place of employment. But with not going, I kind of figured out my own path. And the first job was at Blockbuster, and I really enjoyed that job. Yeah. And after that, it was an insurance job doing claims adjusting, as I mentioned.
Did you start on the adjusting side, or did you start on the sales side?
I started on the customer service $10 an hour position side, nice. And I worked my way up to having a $60,000 salary that we're talking about back in 2008. Right now,
yeah, that's good.
I was
wage.
doing it. I was at my stable cubicle in my salary job and I could stay here for the next 30, 40 years with a very stable company, but it was an entrepreneurial moment and I remember this fork in the road for me. And I was getting called in by my supervisor to have yet another meeting about how I was missing the mark, and I was missing the mark because I was doing moving jobs before and after my normal job.
You seem tired.
You seem tired. And then there was this moment, and Jackie said, would you like to take the rest of the day off to kind of collect yourself and see where you're at? And I said, you know what, I sure would. Half day sounds good. And then I went home and I said, that's it. And I called back and I said, I'm not coming back. And I called Justin, I'm like, I hope this works out.
Yeah.
And that was my entrepreneurial moment. And it all makes sense now, and it's a nice story now, but you don't know how that's going to play out, right? And that was my first entrepreneurial moment.
Wow. How many jobs were you running at that point?
Geez. Well, we were doing so many because we were doing a lot of furniture deliveries up in Cave Creek, Arizona. And so, walked into these furniture stores and we're handing out the business cards that we made at Kinko's the night before.
Yes,
And
I remember the Kinko's grind.
Oh yeah. And so we were getting these furniture deliveries, and it was a pickup truck and an open trailer, and we were literally just figuring it out. But
that's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Get in the comments, y'all. Hit that like button. Let us know you're out there. Steve Weidekamp. What's going on, Steve? Steve's president of CMSA, California Moving and Storage Association. He says, for the entrepreneur, there can be an advantage to not knowing what you don't know. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, you almost got sucked into that corporate, because you were making a good wage. You were working at a cubicle. I feel like that comfort can be like your biggest enemy. You get complacent. You're like, I'm doing all right. What is good is enemy of great. It's like you just get comfortable chilling. It's hard to tear yourself out there.
I think Steve brought up a great point there, and I think about that sometimes. And I don't know how else to say it, but ignorance is bliss. And like, if 42-year-old me went back to talk to 24-year-old me and say, you know what you're signing up for and how much work this is actually going to be? I don't know that 24-year-old me signs up for that. So, but
that's interesting. Taking
the slow, steady progression steps has gotten me to this point. And I don't have the fire at 42 that I had at 24 to take on the world. And now my 42-year-old, so what does take on the world even mean? When is enough enough?
Right.
But having built the systems and the people around me, and like, there's great people around me that I don't have to have the fire that I used to have necessarily.
Super interesting. Bev says your confidence and belief in what you do has made that happen, both of you. Oh, thanks, Bev. Appreciate you. Hosea Botley checking in. Sorry I'm late to the show. Hello, Ben and Josh. What's up, Hosea?
What's
Good
up,
to see you,
Hosea?
buddy? Get in the comments, y'all. Hit that like button. All right, next one up, we got college. All right, overrated. Yeah, let's go with it. Overrated. Next one up, overrated, underrated. Bali.
Underrated.
Underrated. A lot of people talk about Bali. It's underrated. Why?
Well, so I just went a few weeks ago. And I'm half Indonesian.
Okay.
So, that's an important thing for me because I'm the firstborn of my family in the United States.
Wow.
So, getting to see what my grandfather migrated across the ocean for, and ultimately landed in Arizona, it was really cool. And so, going back there, what a place! Just the temples, the everything. It is just such a vibe. How far your money goes there is amazing.
Really? I always thought it was like one of these like kind of elite destinations. Like, it sounds super expensive. You see these like yurt-looking things that are like in the middle of the water. Like, it looks pretty elite. Is it or?
It was elite for me, but there was, so another great thing that comes from the moving industry, my good friend Grant Corzetts, who owns Eco Movers in Seattle, his wife's Indonesian, and so another great connection through the moving industry. So he's like, you got to come to Bali, we go every year. So Grant, it was a cheat code to go with somebody that goes there every year, knew how to travel, where to see.
That is
so
nice.
He takes me all the places. We're out there hanging out with monkeys and, getting $8 massages every day.
Yeah.
So
wow. What's the flight like out there?
The flight, so turns out the Earth is like this, and like you could go like this, which is about a 25-hour flight, or you could go all the way around, in which case it's about 40 hours. So I went this way.
You went
did a quick night's drop off in Qatar.
Was that travel hack that your boy
That's
Grant
right.
came up with?
That's right. So Qatar first class, lay down suites, Q suites. That was great. But
that is nice. Daisy is over here getting bad ideas. She says Bali Glomo team trip.
Yeah, that's take me back with you.
Yeah, maybe an offsite, maybe, but I don't know. Let's see here. All right. Bali sounds great. All right, I'm with you. All right, here's one for you. Overrated or underrated van lines?
I think it's overrated.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Why?
So I think it's an antiquated methodology on the business. So in their prime time, we'll say, that they were absolutely the best solution available, but
Yeah, the only solution, really,
only
for
solution.
going cross country.
So I think there is so many options now with independence and with, other containerized options. We have our option. There's so many ways to get items from point A to point B aside from a van line. Not that a van line can't still provide an exceptional experience. I think for the price and value and level of service that other alternatives can offer, I think there's a lot better options, and I think that the van lines are overrated.
Yeah. Yeah, I tend to agree with you. It's interesting, as I was studying for my certified moving consultant, accreditation, they teach you about the history of the van lines and how they were forged. I think it was like in the early 1900s upstate Michigan, in the northern area of Michigan. These movers came together and formed, I don't know, it was like a blood oath or something. I imagine it, but they pledged to work together, right, or whatever that means, and it's turned into something that's so highly siloed between the agents, the booking agents, the hauling agents, the van line itself, which carries the authority and does some administrative tasks, and none of them are really talking and working together the way they want. No single part of it really works excellently for all the stakeholders, and it seems like it's kind of devolved and maybe been disinvested in. And I really I kind of worried about it when I was working for a van line agent. I kind of worried about its sustainability of the model, but now I see independents like you guys. I mean, you guys are kind of leading the charge there, who are these incredibly operationally savvy, technologically advanced, well-networked independents who are putting together their own networks and their own way of doing things that's driven by actual demand and genuine interest from these operators, whereas these van lines have been historically, oh, well, my daddy's daddy was a member and I'm just here riding the wave, third generation. I don't even, and there's just, the independents just have so much more drive and aspiration and just, I don't know. I just think that's where it's at right now.
Yeah, I think technology's changed, methodology's changed. I think, social media has made a lot of opportunity to bring people together, but a lot of moving company owners, and there's a lot of smart people in our industry, and technology is on our side.
You're right about the social media aspect too, because I remember getting moved in 1988. Showed up to my house, and Mayflower was like a household name. If you're moving cross country, you take the Mayflower truck, and think about where that brand is now today. Like, it has no brand recognition now.
Mm-hmm.
And now you can go through Instagram and get served up like 5 hilarious, insightful ads, educational ads, and be aware of all these other moving companies that are probably a lot more better positioned to help you. Of course, there's also some junk out there, and that's another conversation.
No doubt. I think, there is definitely some junk out there. I think, the social media aspect is very interesting, but just the different options that are out there for motivated, forward-thinking entrepreneurs, not moving company owners. Like, these are entrepreneurs that are in our industry right now. So it's not a guy with a truck and these are forward-thinking, smart people. And when smart people start to collaborate, they can come up with innovative ideas that can really help the industry and each other.
Yeah, unlock a lot of value too. All right, moving on. Overrated, underrated. Leg day.
Definitely underrated.
Yeah, a lot of people out there skipping leg day, huh?
I think I'm one of them.
I don't think so, man. I think you're wearing shorts right now. I don't think you're skipping leg day, bro.
I don't have my Buddy the Box logo on here, but sometimes I think I too closely look like Buddy the Box.
Let's see if we got a Buddy. Do we got a Buddy the Box over here? Maybe we can. Is this Buddy? Here we go. Just so you guys know what Buddy the Box is about there. I don't think you look like Buddy the Box, dude. You got some great calves over there, man.
Well, you know, back in my day, you know, I was a natural Mr. Arizona a couple times, and then,
Wow.
So I think bodybuilding gave me a lot of fundamental tools of how to be, you know, that I leverage today. And then it was funny because after an absence of 12 years, I decided I was going to go do a bodybuilding contest actually 2 months ago.
Wow.
And so it's been a minute. Things
How
have
long
changed.
did you train for that?
4 months. So I got excited to go do it and share it with my girlfriend who had never, you know, been with me through this process. And so it was very nostalgic to do this after 12 years, but I tore my patella tendon in my knee about 7 years ago. So I just haven't really trained legs that hard since. So I was getting my legs back in order after
Okay. All right.
taking a hiatus.
Respect. All right. Last one here. Overrated, underrated. The Dallas Cowboys.
Overrated.
Oh my gosh, you were so close to a perfect game. Josh, you were so close to a perfect game, man.
Look, this ain't Jerry's world, and I was a Cowboys fan with Aikman, Emmett, and
Yes.
the trio, but I hate to say it, but it's just a fact.
Dude, you know we signed Von Miller yesterday?
Did you?
Yeah, we signed Von Miller. Man, I mean, he's got a couple rings. He's coming home, played for the hometown team. I don't know, man. There's rumors of Max Crosby in the wind right now. That'd be sick. I mean, Quinnen Williams. I mean, this defense is going to be fierce, man. Second best offense in the league last year. This defense has a whole lot of veterans getting added this year. I don't know, man.
They got a Netflix show about the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders now that my girlfriend made me watch. So,
Dallas Cowboys, also the most valuable sports franchise in the world, $15.5 billion. Can't argue with success.
that is impressive.
And I met Jerry. I do have a picture of Jerry up in my office. I got to get it signed though this year. Got to go back and get it signed. So, anyway, Josh, this has been a lot of fun. Josh, I really appreciate the time here. You want to leave us maybe just with a final thought?
Well, Ben and Daisy, thanks so much for including me. It's been a pleasure, and I think final thought: one step at a time.
Yeah.
So
It's I love that, and it reminds me of the saying, right? It's we often overestimate what we can do in a day, but we underestimate what we can do in a year, and in that one step at a time kind of mentality, really exemplifies that. So, hey, thanks everybody for getting in the comments. I really appreciate y'all. We wouldn't have a show without you. So hit that like button and leave us some love. Let Josh know how he did out there, and it's great out there seeing y'all. And can't wait to see y'all again. So stay tuned, y'all. Take care, everybody.
thanks.